All right, we're gonna real quick try to run through this program that I've been working on. Just a quick breakdown before we start it up. This is kind of like an accounting and business management tool designed mostly for like small construction companies and similar businesses. Um, it's still in development, so the UI, the front end, what you see is not exactly how it should be, how it could be. So just bear that in mind. So let's go ahead and start up. As you can see, this is a web-based app. That means it runs through the browser. You access it over the internet instead of having a program that you have to purchase and install on your local machine. What that means, this is a web-based cloud app. You can access it from anywhere. On your computer, on your mobile device, anywhere where you have internet access. This first page here, since I am already logged into my account, this shows the businesses that are associated with my account. If I were not logged in, then instead it would show a login page. So if I would log out, then this would be the login page. You can have multiple businesses with your account. We'll load one up here. It takes a little bit to load because I have a function running right now in development that checks for errors that happen while I'm debugging things. So you can see real quickly here all the information for your business, name, address, email, phone number. Here you have a profile picture. If I click on it, then we would be taken to another page where I have the option to change the profile picture. You see here I can have multiple customers entered into my database. Here I have 3. The tasks are down here. These are if you have different tasks that you tend to repeat often. I can create entries for those instead of having to enter all that data again all the time. So it's just a little bit of a time saver there. If I want to create a new customer or a new task, those options are over here. View account, we will look at that. Actually, let's go ahead and look at that now. This takes a little bit since the program is running in debug mode right now. There's a function to load all the information that I need for this that takes a little bit right now. Running in the production environment, it doesn't take nearly that long. Okay, so here we see these are the account totals for this business. Right now it shows that our profit is in the negative because I have created a sample job and posted a lot of expenses to it, but have not posted any payments to it. So all those expenses show up, but none of the income shows up because the income is based on payments that have been received. Here I can see the customers. I can also email myself a report of this, which is just this part here. I can filter through it by year, by month, and a number of different ways. We go up here, account home, that's this page that we're currently on, and I can view lots of different things in the business. So we can see all the payments that we have received. If I click here, again, these pages all will take a little bit to load while I'm running in debug mode. So here's all the payments. We can see all the payments, the description, what jobs they are associated with, etc. Then here's a report on all the payments that we've received, the payments, the taxes, and then how much of that is actually left over after those taxes. And those taxes here are just specifically sales taxes. Invoices, I can look at all my invoices. So this gives us all the information for these invoices. So as you see, this invoice has been paid, so it has that posted to it and a balance. If I go down here to the last invoice I paid or I posted, you see there is nothing paid, so there is a balance. Again, different ways of sorting out the invoices. You can see that all here. I can look at the jobs also, all of the jobs that this business has with it, has posted to it. So you see here, these are all the different jobs, their tasks, expenses, and so on. So this page can get quite long because it's got a lot of detail on it. So here, the need to filter things out is very useful. So if I know the ID or the name of a certain job, I can search for it. Now the customer page is very useful because this page will give us a report on the profitability of an individual customer. So we'll see that in a little bit. Again, different ways to filter it out here. So there's all the information with that customer, the jobs that they have, and here's their profitability report. So I can see if I'm making money or if I'm losing money on a certain customer. So this one obviously right now is very much losing money because I have not posted any payments to the invoice for this customer, but I have posted a lot of expenses. We'll see that in a little bit. Just keep in mind all of this data is just a bunch of random stuff I entered in just for the purpose of testing, finding bugs, errors, and also having something to demonstrate the program with. So these aren't real world numbers by any means. Expenses, I can see all the expenses. I have the ability to post overhead expenses and also post expenses to specific jobs. And same thing, different ways of filtering that out. So let's go back to the business profiles for this job. This takes a little bit to load just because right now I have a function running to check for errors that won't run in production. So you see here I have the option of entering different customers in, entering different tasks in. I already explained that. If I want to create a new customer or a new task, those are up here. We'll go ahead and look at this sample customer. We have all of the information for this customer. Another thing we have for the customer is the ability to automatically send notifications. This one is not checked. That means it will not automatically send notifications. So that's things like job status, when invoices are posted, things like that. We also have a username and a password. That is what we will use to give the customer access to his invoices, estimates, and contracts. This one has a job posted. You can see we could post a job over here. Job name, we have the description. The description is useful. It's important when we go to generate contracts that we have good descriptions for things. Keep that in mind when you're using the program, that the descriptions are going to come into play when you send out contracts to your customer. So here we have the just kind of the breakdown, the numbers breakdown for the job, and we'll explain how that all works. We have, well, first of all, let's look at the job is broken down into this job is broken down into 5 different periods. I can assign tasks to every period. You can see under the task, it gives you the status of that task. So let's go ahead and show you something of what that means. Let's look at this one here. As you can see here, same thing, name, description. We have different ways we can enter in and calculate the costs for certain tasks. This one I have put a count and put in just the cost, the price of that task. If you have something that you want to figure out on an hourly rate, instead I could put in hours, and instead of showing the count here, it would show hours. So you see here we have status. It says created, and then also has the date it was created and the person who entered enters it in also signs off on it. Now, what we have here is if I want to mark this task as started, then what I'm doing is now I'm assigning it to somebody. So now you see more information has shown up here. And I have the ability to change the data here. So if I want to, I can adjust that. And then I can sign it off also to mark it as complete. So now it is complete. We have who created it, when it was created, when it was started, and when it was finished. Obviously I have an error in my function here that I'll have to debug and fix, but that just shows you that this program is still definitely in development. So let's go back to the job. As you can see, this first period, I no longer have the ability to create tasks for it. That's because all of these tasks have been marked as completed. Here we have only one. Once these are all marked as completed, I would have the ability to generate an invoice for that period. I've already done that for the first period, so let's look at that invoice here. So you can see this uses the information from your job, from your customer, from your business to generate an invoice for that time period. So it takes all of the items that are in that time period, gives their information, whether or not they are counted by hours, by count, takes their rate and generates a total. So you have your subtotal, your total. Those would be different if taxes or fees were being posted to this invoice. So like late fees would cause this total to be different. For example, if you have a business that needs to charge sales tax, since this tax rate here is 0, no tax shows up here. And then we have here, this is the balance that is due. So let's show how that works. Well, actually, let's first show we have a printable version of the invoice here. And if I would click on this button here, the send email button, it would send an email version of the invoice to the customer's email address. These obviously are just navigation. If I want to add a payment to the invoice, let's go ahead and add a payment to the invoice. I can enter in the amount. It won't let me enter an amount of 0 or less than 0. Or an amount that's greater than the balance due on that invoice. So let's go ahead and enter an amount less. Actually, let's enter in a too big amount. See, it won't let me do that. So we'll enter in a smaller amount that's less actually than the total, so we can show how the balance works. Different payment methods, vouchers, gift cards, discounts, those kind of things won't be posted to your account totals because they are not actually income being received. But you do have the option to give a discount or something like that if you choose to. If I choose a check, it will give me another field here to enter in a check number. Otherwise, that field is hidden. So you see here, now we have a balance due that is less because we've entered in a $20,000 payment, as you can see here. And then we have the receipt for that payment down here. And you can also see that that is attached to the printable version and to the emailed version of the invoice. So if I had automatic updates set, it would have automatically sent that out, that receipt out as an email to the customer. So now let's go ahead and add another payment for the remaining balance. We'll just say this one was paid with a credit card. Post that to the invoice. Now you see the balance is $0 and we have 2 receipts in the posted to the invoice. So if we go back to the job, we can see the job status now has changed so that all payments are up to date. That specifically means that every invoice that has been posted is paid, but the job is not yet completely done because we have all of these other periods that don't have invoices and are not paid. You also see here we have a difference between the estimate and the final cost. What that means is one of these tasks, I believe it was this one, I entered in a different number of hours than I had put into the estimated number of hours. So that gives me a different cost, and that shows up again. If we go back here to the job report, that shows up here, and it gives me the difference. So if you run over or you run under your estimate, your job will keep track of that for you. So you'll have this nice little report for that. The other thing with the job would be the estimates in the contract. Estimates can be generated at any time. It's recommended, obviously, that you wait until you have all of the items entered in to the job, because these are what are used to, obviously, to generate the estimated cost. Expenses, if you want expense allowances to be on your estimate and in your contract, actually they won't be on the estimate, but if you want them to be in the contract, then you would enter those in before you create the contract. If not, you just wait until after the contract. That's just a simple way to control whether or not you want to show that. And we'll show what that means here in a little bit. So first, let's look at the estimate. It generated an estimate based on the information from the job. Again, you have the same header here that we had for the invoice, same basic layout. So all this is pretty much the same. But then we have here, this is kind of creating an estimate for each period. So you see a breakdown for each period, the totals for each period, and then it gives a grand total. And again, there's a subtotal and a total in the case that you would have things like taxes and other fees that are posted. But this job does not have any, so those are the same. If we go back to the job, we will next look at the contract. Since I've created the contract and the estimate, this is here. If either the contract was not there, if I had not created a contract, then I would have the option to create one right here. If I had not created yet the estimate, neither of those would be here, and instead I would have a button here to create an estimate. The contract is actually dependent on the estimate, so you have to create the estimate first. So here's a sample of the contract. Again, they're using the same header. I should explain here, the picture here is your profile picture from your business, so that is customizable, completely customizable. Here you see your descriptions for the job, on the items, their descriptions and periods and costs. All 5 of the periods have a breakdown. Then we also have our expense allowances, like I explained. If you don't post the expenses, before you generate the contract, this won't show up. So you can control whether or not you want the customer to see an expense allowance or not. And then you have the totals for each period and the grand total that is to be paid for the job. So you can break the job down into a payment schedule, and the terms of that are explained down here in the job terms. Obviously your signatures and all that down here. So as you can see, the program can generate invoices, estimates, and contracts for your job. Now you have your customer portal. We use our username and our password that we created for our customer, and that gives them access to a very limited amount of information. They can see their information. They can also see the contracts, estimates, and invoices for their job. So if we would click on that, what we would see that is the printable version of everything. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what this program is capable of doing.